gives you a sense of how big this firefight became and how much they're still fighting it and making sure that they've kind of contained it. The big plume of smoke is gone, so that's good. We see a few, what looks like some hot spots burning, here and there, but I think for the most part, around the roadway, around that area, it's pretty good. The real thing here now is just the aftermath confusion. People just didn't know. They had firefighters kind of leading people back to their cars, but then people really didn't know what to do. Like, if their car is ruined, if their car is burned and melted, then where do they go? Who drives them down the hill? How do they get out of here? Who's going to get their car back to make an insurance claim? These are all the questions now. Now that they're safe, now these are the questions people are faced with and trying to figure out what to do next. So you can imagine that kind of thing is very disheartening. And yet, there's a lot of people who are doing this sort of thing. They're stopping alongside the road. Some of these are fire officials. We also have some people who just kind of like looking at what's going on, which is not the greatest idea, but I think we're showing you right now, we've got fire officials here. They're kind of standing and making sure the line doesn't change here. We're in a pretty safe spot, though, in this particular area. They've definitely got this area protected. So I think the bottom line is, right now, the aftermath is happening. People are just trying to figure out what to do next. And that really means just kind of getting these cars down, towing the cars out, reopening some of these lanes, which I believe all the southbound lanes remain closed at this point. So coming out of the high desert, a real challenge for people, especially if they are used to taking the Cajon Pass, which obviously people who live on the other end of it generally are. They don't want to have to go all the way down and through Lancaster and come back down into the basin that way. Back to you.
And Tom, you were just talking about all the chaos out there that you actually were in the midst of at some point. And this evening, obviously, officials, their biggest first line of work, obviously, is to get people to safety. You had mentioned that they are to safety right now. Do you see where these people who were evacuated from their cars or who have abandoned their cars are right now? Are they all gathered in one area, one central area, or are they just scattered everywhere still?
Well, so they were kind of scattered at first. So the way it kind of played out was they had a lot of them just instinctually ran up north through the pass, back up to the other end of it, and then firefighters tried to get everybody organized as they were walking down through the freeway, because people were just kind of walking aimlessly, a little bit scattered at first, and so they gathered them all together and kind of led them back to their cars and tried to keep it as orderly as possible, tried to diminish the chaos as much as they can. Obviously, in a situation like this, it's very difficult to do that. People are very emotional, and a lot of people, this is interesting, could not find their cars. There were actually people who didn't know where they were. They couldn't find their vehicles. They didn't know if they just had no idea where it went, and which is crazy because it was a fairly small area where the cars and the trucks where all this happened. So, but there was definitely a contingent of people who just didn't know where they were. So that was another thing that was really surprising, and certainly another challenge for people. Firefighters are trying to
20 vehicles destroyed, 10 other than damaged.
And that their lives were saved, and that was really the most important thing. And firefighters really deserve so much kudos and credit here, trying to get here as quick as they did and jump on top of this.
Well, they don't have much time left, Tom, as far as the air assault is concerned. I know they've got to be concerned about losing light. At one point, there were 10 fixed wings, air assault, 7 helicopters. The DC-10, which you said is still up and running and making some drops of the fire retardant, but there's not a lot of time left as far as daylight goes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm watching another chopper right now. The DC-10 is now returning to go reload. So you're right, they are trying to get as much of this in as possible right now. I don't think I've ever seen such a concentrated air attack on fire. Maybe a couple of times recently we've seen that, but generally, I mean, this was really intense. I mean, they had chopper after chopper in and out of this area, dumping water and flame retardant. I mean, it was just a non-stop air assault on this fire. I'm going to turn off. You can see one of the choppers right now. It's going over, I believe, to the Baldy Mesa area to try to make sure that area is not still being burned and threatened. I think those evacuation orders are still in effect. I haven't been able to check that. I know you guys have been reporting on that, but I'm not positive. In any case, that chopper right now is going back to that area. Back to you.
Tom Waite, thank you so much. Tom Waite on the ground there all afternoon for for us. Please stay safe out there. We can see from the left side of the screen, this is a live picture from Sky 9, the fire still smoldering in some areas very close to structures, and we saw some livestock earlier that people are probably also concerned about, or horses actually, that of course people are trying to probably evacuate out of the area as well. We want to turn now to our meteorologist Rich Fields, who's been checking conditions in the area, and from these pictures, Rich, such a vast difference from earlier today and the left side of your screen showing just smoldering going on.
Thank goodness.
Yes, no kidding. Firefighters making very good work.
Yeah, and we mentioned it earlier about the sundowner winds. We're getting to that time of the day where through the passes and canyons we're going to see the winds really start to pick up. We've been checking the Twitter feed as well, and some amazing pictures have been coming in from folks. Look at that. I mean, we've seen stuff like this from Tom Waite out there, but an absolute war zone out there, folks. If the camera can come in a little closer, you can see there's probably 20 cars in this particular picture alone. Just absolute devastation. Wait till you see this. This video, we watched this live on the air when it happened. This KLLM transport truck just going up in flames, actually exploding at one point with firefighters just feet away. So we're still getting a lot of pictures in from Vine, Twitter, Instagram. If you have pictures from the fire today out on the 15th, tweet me at iRichFields. We'll put them on the air. If you want to take the weather computer, I'll show you some current conditions for you right now through the Cajon Pass and up through the Baldy Mesa area as well, where winds have died down a little bit. We had gusts earlier today in the 30s. If you're a resident of the area, you know where the Cajon Pass is. If you're a visitor, we'll pinpoint it for you. 83 degrees right now in Baldy Mesa, 81 in the Cajon Pass. We're talking about the gusts right now at about 25 miles an hour out of the south. Humidity still hovering at about the mid-20s, or earlier this afternoon we were talking about the teens for humidity levels. Baldy Mesa now showing some pretty good gusts at about 28 miles an hour, and they were at 30. They've been jumping up and down, but you know, you get on this side of the hill of the mountains, and we're in the teens in many places. So we are starting to see the winds through those passes and canyons a little heavier than they have been through other places. When we get more from Instagram and Twitter, I'll have it for you here coming up just a little bit.
All right, Rich, thank you so much for keeping us on top of the weather conditions there out in the pass. You are watching continuing coverage of this fire. We have been covering since 2:30 this afternoon. The North Fire in the Cajon Pass. Dramatic scenes we've seen all afternoon of cars going up in flames, semi-trucks going up in flames, and a very aggressive fight from several different agencies there that are now starting to lose the daylight and are trying to make as much work as they can before that happens.
We'll be right back with more news after this break.
Right here.